blogger and creator of the blog Miss Right Says, as well as OMGOBGYN. I wanted to introduce all of our panelists, and then each one of them are going to give a little bit more background about who they are and what they do. So to my immediate right, I have Miss Salena Collins.
Hi.
Salena is the owner and founder of Clear Gardens Yoga Studio. I have Dr. Lisa Upshaw, and many of you know her probably already as Dr. Lisa. And Dr. Lisa is a chiropractor as well as a holistic health practitioner who specializes in acupuncture and functional nutrition, something that I think we all definitely need. To her right is Dr. Melissa Natavio, and she is the Director of Family Planning Fellowship, and she's also an assistant professor for the Department of Obstetrics and Gynecology at the Keck School of Medicine at USC. And last but not least, we have Ms. Lauren Cornell, and Lauren is a registered dietitian. So there's many of us who haven't yet had children, and we are aging, and we're wondering, should we freeze our eggs? And what are some of our options? And should we really be worried? Because you hear those stories of women who have their children well into their 40s. But what's your advice or counsel for those of us wondering?
That's a question I answer on a daily basis. So we do know that fertility changes starting in the early 30s. Egg freezing is an option. However, for some people it can be cost prohibitive in order to, freeze the eggs, to store them, the consultation, none of this is covered by insurance. The reproductive endocrinology and fertility physicians, take cash. And so that is one option if you have the luxury of being able to do that. But I think in general, I think people recommend to make, to start childbearing a priority in the mid-30s or whatnot.
So basically just have sex right away. Hopefully you get pregnant.
However, we do know there are more women that are being pregnant, or getting pregnant and starting families in their late 30s and 40s. And so, it also depends on if you have the ability to, afford in vitro or artificial reproductive technology. So that's another thing to take into consideration.
So just a great piece of information just for everyone too. From a Chinese medicine perspective, the body goes through a major change every 7 years. So 7, 14, 21, 28, 35, so on and so forth. So around the time that you were noticing some changes, that was sort of the predictable time when the body would start to make some hormonal shifts, 28 to 35, which I'm assuming you're kind of in the middle of that now. And I before mentioned that there is a decrease of yin that naturally happens. And so you would start to experiencing some shift in that. That's why as you get older, you become, typically you have less chances at fertility. Because again, the yin that you have in abundance is needed for fertility. And so as you get closer into those blocks of 7, then it decreases.
Can we give them all a round of applause? This event is, I guess you could say, a creation of mine because probably like all of you, I've had questions since I started visiting my OBGYN, and those questions have grown progressively as I've matured and had various experiences, and then hear stories from women of all different ages. And I found myself sometimes when I would experience something, I'd go online, like we all probably shouldn't, go to WebMD, and I'd look up something because I couldn't get a doctor's appointment right away, and so I'd say, oh my God, I have that. Or I'd find all of these forums of women very frustrated, not knowing how they could maybe treat certain things at home, or questions that maybe a lot of us have. And so I really wanted this day to be about conversation, about sisterhood and sharing, and lastly, letting you know that you're not alone, because I think so many times we suffer in silence and we think, oh my God, I'm the only person that's going through what I'm going through. And I think it's safe to say with the number of people who've signed up for this event, it's a need, and women want to know more about what's happening with their overall health.